This story is titled, Bride Ghosted Me. 2 weeks before our wedding for a bachelor party with her college ex and now she is mad I called it off. Hey everyone, if you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world and helps keep this journey going strong. Now let's start the video. OP starts by saying, I'll start by saying, this post is more for me to vent than anything else. If you've ever been in a situation where someone you love completely betrays your trust, you might relate. I honestly don't know what to feel anymore. I'm sitting here in an empty apartment, writing this, when 2 weeks ago, I thought I'd be married by now. But here's where it all began. 2 weeks ago, I woke up like any other day. I reached over to her side of the bed, but it was empty. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe she went for a jog or had an early morning errand. It wasn't until I got up, brushed my teeth, and saw her side of the bathroom untouched that I started to feel weird. She hadn't been here since last night. I tried calling her, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Hey, where are you? Woke up and you weren't home." No response. As the hours passed, I started panicking. Mia always kept me in the loop. If she was going somewhere, she'd at least drop a text. By the afternoon, her phone was still off, and I was already spiraling. My mind was racing. Was she okay? Had something happened to her? I called her family, thinking maybe she went there. Her mom didn't know where she was and sounded just as concerned. Her dad said, she didn't mention anything about leaving. That's when I really started to freak out. If her own parents didn't know where she was, this wasn't just a small miscommunication. Next, I reached out to her friends. No one answered. Some left me on read, which pissed me off even more. They were always chatty when we were out at dinner or parties, but now they were suddenly silent? I was losing it. By the evening, I was pacing around the living room. Should I call the police? What if something bad had happened? I barely slept that night. My phone was glued to my hand. Every time a notification popped up, my heart would jump, but it was never her. Around 4 a.m., completely exhausted, I opened Instagram out of habit, scrolling mindlessly, and then I saw it. A group photo. A bunch of her college friends at some bar, laughing, drinks in hand. And there she was, front and center, smiling like she didn't have a care in the world. My stomach dropped. I stared at the picture, hoping I was wrong, but it was her. The bar was tagged in the post. Out of curiosity, I tapped on it and realized it wasn't even local. It was in Spain. Spain. My fiancé, the person I was supposed to marry in 2 weeks, had hopped on a plane and flown halfway across the world without telling me. I felt like my brain couldn't process it. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. But there she was, grinning with her friends like everything was fine. No message, no call, no explanation. Nothing. I was furious. I mean, who does that? How do you just disappear without a word to your partner? I texted her immediately. I know where you are. You better get on the next flight home or this wedding is off. I didn't even care if I sounded harsh. What else was I supposed to say? I poured my heart into a follow-up message, telling her how disappointed I was. But did she respond? Of course not. Her phone was still off. I ended up staring at the ceiling for hours, replaying every moment of our relationship in my head, trying to figure out how we got here. The next day, her parents called again, asking if I'd heard from her. When I explained what I found, they were as shocked as I was. Spain? Her mom asked, sounding like she was about to cry. Her dad just muttered something about damn friends under his breath. They promised to try and reach her, but I wasn't holding my breath. At this point, I wasn't even sad anymore. I was just pissed. The love of my life, the person I thought I knew, had chosen to party with her friends in another country instead of being here with me. It wasn't even about the wedding anymore. It was about respect. That evening, she finally called. Her voice was calm, like nothing had happened. "Hey," she said casually, as if we weren't on the verge of a massive fallout. I didn't even let her finish her sentence before I let loose. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I said, my voice shaking. "You disappeared. I thought something had happened to you. Do you know how scared I was?" She sighed, annoyed, like I was being dramatic. "It's not that big of a deal," she said. Not that big of a deal? I couldn't believe my ears. She went on to explain that her college friends had been planning this surprise trip for months. They only told her about it last week and had already booked and paid for everything. She didn't want to go at first, she claimed, but they insisted and didn't want to waste the money. I asked her why she didn't just tell me. "Because I knew you'd overreact," she said. "I wanted to go. I deserved it. I haven't had a trip with my friends in years." Overreact? I didn't even know what to say to that. I was too stunned to yell. I asked her point blank, "What about our wedding? Did you think about that?" She shrugged it off. "I'll be back before then. It's just 2 weeks. Relax." Relax. That word set me off. "If you're not back tomorrow," I told her, "there won't be a wedding to come back to." Her response? I already told you I'm staying. Deal with it. And then she hung up. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I spent the rest of the night stewing in my anger. Every time I thought about her sitting in some bar in Spain, laughing it up while I was here cleaning up her mess, my blood boiled. That's when I made the decision. I wasn't waiting for her to come back. I was calling off the wedding. She wanted to party? Fine. She could party all she wanted, but she wasn't going to party her way back into my life. The morning after that awful call, I woke up feeling hollow. I'd barely slept, replaying our conversation in my head over and over. I kept thinking, how did it come to this? Just days ago, we were picking out cake flavors and finalizing the guest list. Now I was staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself this wasn't all a bad dream. When I finally dragged myself out of bed, the first thing I did was check my phone. No texts, no missed calls, no apologies. She wasn't going to reach out. I think deep down, I already knew that. I started scrolling through Instagram again, even though it felt like punching myself in the face. More pictures, more stories. She was at some beach this time, drink in hand, arm around one of her friends. She looked so happy. I wasn't even jealous at that point. I was just angry. It wasn't just that she was partying while I was losing my mind. It was that she didn't seem to care. Not about me, not about us. I decided I wasn't going to sit around waiting for her to come to her senses. The first thing I did was text the wedding planner. "We need to talk," I wrote. It felt surreal typing those words, like I was talking about someone else's wedding. She responded almost immediately, probably assuming I had some last-minute change to the seating chart. Little did she know. Next, I drafted a message to our guests. I stared at it for what felt like forever, rewriting the words in my head before finally typing them out. Period. Hi everyone. I wanted to let you know the wedding is canceled. Please don't contact me about this right now. I need time to process everything. Thank you for understanding. I didn't explain. I didn't feel like I owed anyone more than that. As soon as I hit send, the messages started pouring in. Most were sympathetic. "So sorry to hear this," or "Let me know if you need anything." But a few people wanted details. "What happened?" they asked. "Are you okay?" I ignored them. I wasn't ready to talk about it. By the afternoon, word had gotten around. Her parents called me, their voices shaky with confusion. "What's going on?" her mom asked. "Why are people saying the wedding is canceled?" I explained everything, from the moment she disappeared to that awful phone call. I told them about the texts, the Instagram posts, the blatant disregard for what we'd built together. Her mom cried. Her dad didn't say much, just muttered something about her needing to grow up. They promised to try and get through to her, but I wasn't holding my breath. If she hadn't listened to me, why would she listen to them? That evening, she called again. This time, I let it ring out. I wasn't in the mood to hear her excuses. She texted instead. Period. "Please answer. I just want to talk." I didn't reply. The next day, I started making the hard calls. Canceling the venue, the photographer, the florist. I thought it would hurt more, but honestly, it was cathartic. Each cancellation felt like reclaiming a little bit of control. I wasn't going to let her actions dictate my life anymore. The wedding planner was understanding. "I'm sorry to hear this," she said. "Let me know if there's anything I can do." The vendors weren't as kind. Some charged hefty cancellation fees, which stung, but I figured I'd deal with that later. By the time I finished, the only thing left to do was pack up her things. I couldn't bear to look at them, so I stuffed everything into boxes as quickly as possible. Her clothes, her books, even the stupid little knickknacks she insisted on keeping on the coffee table. It all went into the spare room, out of sight and out of mind. That night, her parents called again. They'd finally gotten through to her, they said. She was upset and wanted to come home. "Just give her a chance to explain," her mom pleaded. "She loves you." But love wasn't enough. If she loved me, she wouldn't have done this in the first place. "She can come back," I said, my voice cold, "but she won't be coming back to me." She showed up 2 days later. I saw her car pull into the driveway, her suitcase in the trunk. I didn't even open the door. She knocked and knocked, calling my name, but I stayed inside. "Please, let's talk," she shouted. "We can fix this." Her voice cracked, and for a moment, I almost caved. Almost. But then I remembered the phone call, her laughing in the Instagram stories, the way she told me to deal with it. "I already told you," I said through the door. "The wedding is off. You made your choice." She started crying then, loud, messy sobs that echoed through the door. It hurt to hear her like that, but I couldn't let her back in. Not after everything. Eventually, she left. I watched her drive away, tears streaming down her face. It felt like a weight had been lifted, but also like a part of me had been ripped out. That night, I got another flood of messages. Her friends, her family, even a few of our mutual friends. She's really sorry, they said. You need to talk to her. But I couldn't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. After Mia left that day, the reality of what I'd done started to settle in. The wedding wasn't just on hold, it was canceled, finished, and so was our relationship. At first, I felt a weird kind of relief, like I'd finally made a decision and didn't have to keep agonizing over it. But that relief didn't last long. Everywhere I turned, there were reminders of her. The stupid little magnets she collected from every trip we went on. Her favorite mug, still sitting in the sink. The framed picture of us at her cousin's wedding last year, where everyone kept saying we looked like the perfect couple. It was like the apartment was mocking me. I thought about boxing everything up and dropping it off at her parents' house. But even the thought of seeing her mom's face made my stomach churn. So I left it all in the spare room and closed the door. Out of sight, out of mind, right? The messages kept coming. Friends, family, random acquaintances. Everyone wanted to know what happened. Some people were genuinely supportive, sending messages like, "I'm so sorry you're going through this," or "Let me know if you need anything." But others weren't so kind. A few mutual friends started to push back. "You're seriously calling off a wedding over this?" One of them wrote. "She didn't cheat on you. She just went on a trip with her friends. Don't you think you're overreacting?" Overreacting. That word kept coming up, and it pissed me off every time. I wasn't overreacting. This wasn't about the trip. It was about the way she handled it. She didn't just book a last-minute flight. She ghosted me. She ignored my calls, my texts, everything. And when I finally found out where she was, she acted like I was the one being unreasonable. She knew what she was doing, I wrote back to one of the more persistent friends. She made her choice. Now she has to live with it. Her parents were relentless. They called me every day for a week, begging me to talk to her. "She's devastated," her mom kept saying. "She knows she made a mistake." At one point, her dad even tried to guilt trip me. "You've been together for 6 years," he said. "Are you really going to throw all that away over one bad decision?" That phrase stuck with me. One bad decision. Was it really just one bad decision, though? Or was it a sign of something deeper? I couldn't stop thinking about what she said on the phone, how she needed life experiences before settling down. It was like she was already regretting the life we were building together, and I couldn't unhear that. Suri. Eventually, my parents got involved. I don't know if Mia's family called them, or if word just got around, but one night, I got a text from my mom. "We need to talk." When I called her back, she didn't waste any time. "What's going on?" she asked. "Why is the wedding canceled?" I tried to explain, but it didn't seem to sink in. She kept interrupting, asking why I couldn't just forgive her and move on. "People make mistakes," she said. "You're not perfect either, you know." That stung. Of course I wasn't perfect. No one is. But this wasn't some minor argument about where to go for dinner or who forgot to do the dishes. This was my fiancé abandoning me 2 weeks before our wedding to party in another country. "It's not just the trip, Mom," I said. "It's the way she handled it. She didn't respect me. She didn't respect us." She sighed. "I just think you're making a big mistake." That was the end of the conversation. The tipping point came a few days later when Mia's friends emailed me. Not just a text or a DM, an actual email. I guess they figured I'd block them on everything else, so this was their last resort. The message started off with some half-baked apology. "We're sorry about how things turned out," they wrote. "We didn't mean for it to go this far." But as I kept reading, it became clear they weren't apologizing for what they did. They were trying to shift the blame onto me. "She was really looking forward to this trip," they wrote. "She's been so stressed about the wedding, and we thought it would help her relax. We didn't think you'd react like this. React like this. Like it was my fault for being upset that my fiancé disappeared without a word. The worst part? They admitted they'd encouraged her to ignore me. We told her not to worry about your texts," they wrote. "We thought you'd cool off once she got back." Cool off? They thought I'd cool off while they were halfway across the world partying with my fiancé? I didn't even finish reading the email. I deleted it and blocked their address. By the end of the week, I'd reached my breaking point. I texted Mia's parents and told them she could come by to pick up her stuff. I wasn't going to drop it off, and I wasn't going to stick around for some big emotional confrontation. "Just tell her to come when I'm not home," I wrote. Her mom called me immediately. "Please, just talk to her," she begged. "She's been crying nonstop. She's not eating, she's not sleeping, she needs to see you. She needed to see me before she got on that plane, I said. That shut her up. The next day, Mia texted me for the first time since she got back. Can we talk? She wrote. I just want to explain. But I didn't need an explanation. I already knew everything I needed to know. I'm sorry, I replied. It's too late. She didn't respond. By the time she came to pick up her things, I thought I'd feel better. Like I could finally put this whole mess behind me. But as I watched her dad carry box after box out to the car, I felt this weird ache in my chest. This wasn't how things were supposed to end. We were supposed to be building a life together, planning our future, growing old, side by side. And now all of that was gone. When they were done, her dad came up to me and shook my hand. I'm sorry it had to end like this, he said. Me too, I replied. Mia didn't say anything. She just got in the car and drove away. That night, I sat in the empty apartment and stared at the boxes she'd left behind. Photos, letters, little souvenirs from our trips. I didn't have the heart to throw them away. Not yet. Instead, I shoved them into the closet and closed the door. The days following Mia picking up her things were quiet, but not in the peaceful way I'd hoped. The silence was suffocating, like the walls of the apartment were closing in. It was the first time in years I had no one to text, no one to call. I couldn't even check social media without being reminded of her. Her friends, who I'd already blocked, started trying other ways to get through to me. A couple of mutual friends who hadn't yet picked a side tried playing mediator. Mia really regrets everything, they told me. You should talk to her. Just one conversation. I told them the same thing I told everyone else. It's over. Please stop bringing this up. But the pressure didn't stop. Some friends, ones I thought would have my back, started turning on me. You're being selfish, one of them texted. You've been with her for 6 years, and you're throwing it all away because of your ego. That word again. Ego. Like I was some kind of control freak who couldn't handle her having fun without me. It wasn't about that. It was about trust. About respect. I blocked that friend too. My parents, on the other hand, were relentless. Every time I talked to them, they brought Mia up. You should give her a chance, my mom said for the 3rd time in as many days. She made a mistake, but she's young. You both are. She's not too young to know how to communicate, I snapped. My dad chimed in. Son, sometimes you have to look at the big picture. Are you really ready to let 6 years go because of one fight? It wasn't a fight, I said. It was a choice. And she chose to leave. They didn't get it. They probably never would. The breaking point with my parents came a week later when I stopped by their house to pick up some of my old stuff. My mom cornered me in the kitchen and started her usual spiel. She's been calling us, she said. She's devastated. Don't you think you should at least hear her out? No, Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. She pressed on. She's a good girl. You know that. She just got caught up in the moment. It doesn't mean she doesn't love you. I lost it then. If she loved me, she wouldn't have done this. End of story. My mom looked like I'd slapped her. She didn't say anything after that, and when I left, I could tell things weren't going to be the same. In the middle of all this, Mia's college friends reached out again. This time, they texted me from a new number. We just wanted to say sorry again for what happened, the message read. We didn't mean for things to get this bad. I didn't even respond. They'd already made their position clear when they convinced Mia to ignore me and stay in Spain. Their apologies meant nothing now, but they kept texting. She's miserable without you, one of them wrote. She's willing to do anything to fix this. Please talk to her. I blocked the number. The thing is, I wanted to move on. I wanted to wake up one day and not feel like my life had just imploded. But every time I tried, someone else would drag me back into the mess. Mutual friends, her family, even people who barely knew us were weighing in like they had any right to tell me what to do. The only thing that helped was work. I started throwing myself into my job, taking every shift I could, staying late whenever possible. It was exhausting, but at least it kept my mind off things. I also started going to the gym. Not because I had some grand plan to glow up or win the breakup, but because I needed something, anything, to get me out of the house. At first, it was just a way to kill time, but eventually, it became a routine, a distraction. 2 weeks after Mia picked up her stuff, I got a text from her parents. She'd like to talk to you, her dad wrote. Just one conversation, for closure. Closure. That word made me laugh bitterly. She didn't care about closure when she left for Spain. She didn't care about it when she ignored my calls and told me to deal with it. Now she wanted closure? I didn't reply. A month later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. I hadn't seen her since the day she came to get her things, and it caught me off guard. She was sitting by the window, staring at her phone. She looked tired, older somehow. I froze. Part of me wanted to leave before she saw me, but before I could turn around, she looked up. Our eyes met, and for a moment, it felt like time stopped. She smiled faintly and waved. I hesitated, then walked over to her table. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi." We stood there awkwardly for a few seconds before she gestured to the chair across from her. "Do you want to sit?" I did. We didn't talk about the wedding, or the trip, or any of the things that had torn us apart. Instead, we made small talk. She told me about her new job. I told her about mine. It was polite, almost distant, like we were old acquaintances catching up. When I finally left, I felt strange. Not sad, exactly. Just empty. That encounter made me realize something. I was never going to get the closure I wanted. Not from her, not from anyone. The only way to move on was to accept that some things don't make sense and some wounds don't heal cleanly. So that's what I've been trying to do. After that run-in with Mia at the coffee shop, I thought about her a lot. Not in a maybe we'll get back together kind of way. More like trying to make sense of the past 6 years. What went wrong? Could I have done something differently? Was I too harsh? Too inflexible? Those questions haunted me. I'd go over everything in my head late at night when the apartment was too quiet. The way she'd laughed when we first met in college. How we'd stayed up all night talking about our dreams. And how sure we'd been about our future together. 6 years of memories. And yet, here we were. Strangers now. I started therapy about 3 months after the breakup. A good friend, one of the few who had stuck by me through all this, suggested it. At first, I didn't think I needed it. "I'm fine," I told her. "I just need time." But time wasn't helping. Every time I felt like I was moving on, something would drag me back. A memory, a text from someone who didn't know the wedding was off, even a random song on the radio. It was exhausting. The first therapy session was awkward. I didn't know where to start, so I just blurted out, "I was supposed to get married, but I called it off." The therapist nodded and asked me to explain. As I talked, all the anger, confusion, and guilt I'd been bottling up poured out. By the end of the session, I felt like I'd run a marathon. Therapy didn't fix everything overnight, but it helped me unpack a lot of things I hadn't even realized I was carrying. I started to see how much of my anger wasn't just about the trip, but about deeper issues. The way Mia had handled things showed me how differently we saw our relationship. To me, marriage was a partnership. To her, it seemed like something she was doing because it was expected of her. The therapist asked me a question that stuck with me. If this hadn't happened, do you think you'd have noticed these differences later? I thought about that a lot. Maybe the wedding would have gone ahead, and we'd have spent years together before realizing we weren't on the same page. Maybe it was better that it ended now, even if it hurt like hell. I started focusing more on myself. I wasn't just going to the gym anymore. I was setting goals. I started running in the mornings, something I'd never done before. I signed up for a cooking class because I was tired of eating takeout every night. Work became my safe space. I threw myself into projects, volunteered for extra tasks, and even got a small promotion after a few months. My coworkers joked that I was turning into a workaholic, but I didn't care. It was better than sitting at home, wallowing. Mia texted me once, about 6 months after the breakup. It was short, just a simple, "I hope you're doing well." I stared at the message for a long time, unsure how to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part wanted to say something back. Not to rekindle anything, but just to, I don't know, acknowledge the time we spent together. In the end, I replied, "I am. I hope you are too." She didn't text back, and I was okay with that. My parents and I still weren't talking much. They'd been so caught up in the idea of Mia and me as the perfect couple that they couldn't see how toxic things had become toward the end. Every time I tried to explain, they'd brush it off as me being stubborn or dramatic. It hurt, but I decided I couldn't keep chasing their approval. I started spending holidays with friends instead of family, and honestly, it was better that way. A year after the wedding that never was, I realized I felt lighter. Not happy, exactly, but no longer weighed down by everything that had happened. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't constantly replaying our conversations in my head or wondering if I'd made the right choice. I saw Mia one more time, at a mutual friend's wedding. She was with someone new, and so was I. We exchanged polite smiles from across the room, but neither of us approached the other. Later that night, as I danced with my date, I realized I wasn't sad. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't anything. It was over. Looking back now, I think canceling the wedding was the best decision I've ever made. It was painful and messy and absolutely gut-wrenching. but it forced me to confront things I might have ignored otherwise. I learned a lot about myself in the past year. I learned how to set boundaries and stand up for what I need in a relationship. I learned that it's okay to walk away from something, even if you've invested years into it, if it's no longer serving you. Most importantly, I learned that sometimes letting go is the only way to move forward. If you've made it this far, thanks for reading. I don't know where life will take me next, but for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to find out. Stay strong, and don't settle for less than you deserve.